have indeed. That last race was the Junior 8s, and it was National Cathedral School, about a length and a half up from Bedford Modern School. So 3:10, 3:10 is on the course now. Our first semi-final of the Senior Coxed 4s with the Tideway Scullers School on the Berkshire station and Molesey Boat Club on the Buckinghamshire station. So almost a local rivalry here. I mean, they're not really on the same stretch of water at all, but they are both London-based clubs, London-based crews. And obviously we regularly see these names appear on the domestic circuits. It'll be interesting to see today who comes out on top.
Well, I was talking earlier on this morning to Hilary Cook, who's Coxed in the Tideway Scullers School and rowing at bow in the Tideway Scullers 4 is a young lady called Kate Gross. And a few years ago, Kate was well known on the international circuit. How should we say? The Tideway Scullers School 4 are rich in experience and are all previous winners here. Hilary was telling me that last time she got a medal here at Henley Women's was in 1991 rowing. She's only a very small lady, but she's still a very successful competitor, and will be seen here the week after the Royal Regatta, when it's the Henley Masters Regattas held on the same course the weekend after the Henley Royal. So if you do live locally and can get down here, come and see it today. If you can't do that, come down for the Royal, which is at the end of June, beginning of July, finishing on July the 3rd. And if you can't manage that, come down the weekend afterwards, the last weekend of the Henley Festival, when it's the Henley Masters, and crews from all over the world in age groups right up to and including over 80 are racing on this track. Tom, what's happening in the race?
Yeah, loads of roads to come over the next few weeks, but it is the Molesey Boat Club crew on the Buck station who have just stretched out there. They look pretty confident coming out at the start, just overrating their opposition from Tideway Scullers slightly, and that's paid dividends here because they're just trying, huffing and puffing to try and break contact with the Scullers crew. I have to say immediately, both crews staying their line beautifully, so credit to both Coxes for that. But obviously this Molesey crew is coxed by Henry Fieldman, who is actually an international standard cox. He was he's featured out. Actually, thinking about it, I don't think it is, because he was in Poznan yesterday winning gold for GB, so it might not be him in the coxing seat. But the crew's got Gabby Rodriguez in, who I know is a very good club athlete, has won several domestic honours for Molesey Boat Club, and this is showing here, Stan, because they are stepping on. I think they're just trying to break contact with the Tideway Scullers School crew.
And in fact, they're underrating, and the Molesey are just at just over 32 strokes a minute. Tideway Scullers at 34s. That Molesey crew, they're so nicely together. They're absolute. You'd be hard pushed as a coach to think, now, how can I improve the timing of that crew? That is really, really good timing. A way of checking the timing is, imagine there's a piece of cotton tied between the two blades, and you want that piece of cotton to be taut but not broken. And that Molesey crew, whether in all three planes, forwards, backwards, up and down, you'd sit behind that Molesey crew and you see with just one blade either side of the boat, same height, squaring absolutely together. That is club rowing at its best.
Absolutely, and I think Molesey Boat Club are a testament to that. As I say, these women regularly race on the domestic circuit and always produce good results, good performances, and they are absolutely beautiful to watch as they come down the course, because they have stepped on and they've probably got 2 lengths now over the crew from Tideway Scullers. So we've got our next race on the course, which is our second semi-final of the Senior Cox 4s with the University of London Boat Club on the Berkshire station, and a composite
from Durham Amateur, Durham University and Chester Street, which is the area of rowing that I know a little bit about now. Chester Street, of course, which known these days mainly as being one of the test cricket grounds. Chester Street, just a couple of miles up the motorway from Durham. They've got a lovely stretch of water there, not very long, maybe a couple of miles, but they've got a flourishing club. They are the leading junior club in that part of the world at the moment. Durham University, although they're based in Durham, they actually row up in Newcastle, and Durham Amateur, of course, are the club on the same stretch as the Durham colleges. But these, one of the problems outside of the big population areas in the Thames Valley is you get good quality athletes but in small numbers, and so they've sensibly put these 4 young ladies together, la creme de la creme from that part of the world.
Yeah, well, it's a shame, because actually that composite, although they are the best that some of those clubs have to offer, they are unfortunately coming up against a pretty classy crew here in the University of London. Of course, this crew has Charlotte Hodgkins Brine and Fiona Gannon on board, both of whom are ex-junior internationals, so plenty of pedigree there in this crew. And racing senior Coxed forwards, you know you're going to get some outstanding student and club crews, and so it proves here. This University of London crew, they look impressive, don't they, Stan?
Yes, you can see what the international experience, the high quality coaching that they've had. It just becomes so embedded, the good technique. And one of the joys of rowing is there is now pretty much a standard technique. You don't find different centres of rowing have different techniques. So actually one's able easily to move from juniors to other clubs. And what happens with people like the young ladies from the northeast of England is they'll reach the peak in that part of the world, and just like our world-class athletes and our Great Britain athletes from the northeast, they then come down to one of the centres here in the south of England, and hopefully they come back up afterwards and spread the good practice. But you're absolutely right, there is a quantum difference in class here.
I mean, the University of London now on the Berkshire station have stretched out to what looks like 3 or 4 lengths now, so that is comfortable from those guys, those girls.
Just at 32's the University of London. And just to go back to what we were talking about earlier, you can see that they are close coupled on what would normally be stroke sides. So stroke and bow are on the left-hand side of the boat, and 2 and 3 are on the right-hand side of the boat. One of the challenges, of course, there is for when the cox wants to steer the boat, he can't call bow side and stroke side as he might do conventionally. You can just therefore, good view there from the top camera, the umpire's launch behind, and there we can see 2 and 3 together. But look at that, lovely relaxed. That there is, when you get to the top class of rowing, there is an effortlessness from the hips up, which almost looks like there isn't all that power going on. And yet, actually, we know, because we can see the gap. These are 4 good athletes a long way behind. And they're a long way behind because there's that hurdle that's climbed over. A bit like the difference between Championship and Premiership football. Championship football's good, but Premiership in a different class. We change events.
Yeah, 3-1-2 on the course now. Our first semi-final of the Club 8s with the City of Oxford Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Tideway Scullers School on the Buckinghamshire station. So I saw both these crews race yesterday and both performed very, very well. So I'm sure they'll be looking forward to stretching their legs out here today. And it looks like as they go down the course, just about the first 150 metres of this world-famous Henley Women's Regatta course, it's the Tideway Scullers out on the Buck station have just got the slight advantage off the start.
And Tideway Scullers at 43, City of Oxford at 38. But I followed one of the City of Oxford races yesterday, and they again went off at a fairly lowish rate. Had a debate with some people after racing had finished yesterday. We felt that probably Tideway Scullers had the edge on a head-to-head, but we didn't think there was going to be much to do it. So I'm surprised. That's 3/4 of a length Scullers have got in what, first minute?
Yeah, that's mightily impressive there. And you have to say, we've seen a couple of races already today where the dominant crew, the leading crew, has just stretched out in the opening stages, and the margin that they've established for themselves has not been possible to relinquish for the losing crew. And obviously Tideway Scullers always produce a number of very impressive athletes, and this 8 looks no different from the norm.
They're down to 34 already.
Which of course is cruising speed in an 8, really, isn't it? I mean, that's almost below it.
I was going to say that you would expect top class Club 8s could cruise at 35s, 36s, maybe even 37. So to be at 34s and with just a length, City of Oxford there. City of Oxford still at 36, trying desperately not to let Tideway Scullers disappear. But I think actually they're not going to be able to do very much about this. There's already clear water, length and a quarter. A judge might give that at the moment,
Yeah,
I think.
just about. I think they're just testing the limits of that imaginary elastic band between the crews, and I think Scullers will be breaking that in the next minute or so. If they continue rowing the way they are and maintaining their form, they are looking very impressive as they come down the course. I'm sure they'll get a mighty roar as they row past the enclosures here at the Henley Women's Regatta. But that is stern stuff from the Tideway Scullers, and that's got to be almost 2 lengths now to the crew on the Buck station. I think City of Oxford, they've huffed and they've puffed, but they just haven't been able to match the power and the horsepower on board the Tideway Scullers School crew.
And I've I'm a Tideway man, and I believe that the tidal Thames is the best place to learn how to row. If you can row well on the tidal Thames, which is always different every minute of every day, then you can row well anywhere. And Tideway Scullers, the boat race finish post, of course, is just in front of their boathouse, where City of Oxford. It's a beautiful stretch of water they've got up at Oxford. They're just upstream of all the college boathouses, but it is a nice flat bit of rural Thames. Got 3 or 4 miles up there, whereas down on the Tideway is a very unforgiving environment to row in, and we can see the Tideway Scullers. Anybody could row beautifully on this water this morning. The Tideway Scullers now broken right away, down to 31 strokes a minute. City of Oxford continue at 35. But Tideway Scullers, 2 lengths now probably as we go down to the last third of the course?
Yeah.
And we can see we've got the other semi-final of Club 8s on the start, Tom.
Yeah, just waiting up at the start for the next semi-final of the Club 8s. But yeah, that was Tideway Scullers on the Buckinghamshire station, just stretching right out. I think you're right, Stan. That's about 2 lengths. About 2 lengths to the good now, and just relaxing. And in the final stages, they're able to do that. They can afford to do that. The work they've done in the early parts of the course have given them that luxury. But if we return to the start for the second semi-final of the Club 8s, race 313, with Agecrott Rowing Club on the Berkshire station and Grosvenor on the Buckinghamshire station. We just left the start. In that race, there we go. We've got live footage there of Agecrott and Grosvenor leaving the start together. That's good, isn't it? It's lovely to watch 2 8s leaving the start clean, competent, and looking really impressive in the shadows of the world-famous Temple Island. But I think as they left the state boat stay, it might have been Agecrott who just sneaked an early advantage.
Both of them go down the island at rating over just over 40, 41. We're looking down from the drone, and the drone actually says that you suffered there a little from the commentator's curse, Tom, because Agecrott got their noses in front. Agecrott in the red vests on the right of your screen, and Grosvenor in the yellow on the left of the screen. And we must actually apologise to Grosvenor. Grosvenor are a club, an open independent club in Chester, and I understand that our colleagues misidentified the nature of their crew on Friday. Grosvenor, a very proud club, a club that's been around for a long time, a club that, when it produces a crew, always produces a competitive crew. Agecrott, of course, one of the 2 clubs in the Manchester area. There's Agecrott and there's Hollingworth Lake, and Agecrott have been producing good, solid, quality crews for many years. Be interesting to see which of these 2 crews gets through to race Tideway Scullers. But we're back on the start. There's another race about to go, I think, Tom.
No, I think that might have been a mistake from our production team. I think it is still. We're still with the second semi-final of the Club 8s, and this looks like a better race than we've had in the last couple. I mean, Agecrott, who did jump out to an early lead, they're being reined in. I have to say, it looks to me like Grosvenor are mounting a bit of a push as they come down the last stretches of the Temple Meadows. Oh, it can't be much more than a canvas in that between them.
Grosvenor sneaked it up to 35. Agecrott, for some reason, went down to 33. And as you rightly say, Tom, it looks like Grosvenor are nibbling away at that lead. And there is a wonderful sense, if you're sitting in the Grosvenor boat, every stroke you just claw back an inch or so. Agecrott had a really rough patch, but they look like they may have settled back again. I'm just trying to clock. Agecroft's still at 33, Grosvenor at 35, but as you rightly say, Tom, that is a real push from Grosvenor, and inch by inch, and you sit there, and the Coxed will probably call it through, and you inch an inch back, and in the Agecrott boat, no matter how hard you push with the legs, how hard you tug with the arm, how strong you open the shoulders, somehow there's a crew rowing past you, and it almost makes you, it's the worst feeling in the world. And there we go. We've reached third distance. Well, difficult to tell. Sometimes it looks, perhaps Agecrott perhaps have taken their race up now, Tom.
I think Agecrott have responded, and if we look at the 2 Coxes, it does look like the Agecrott crew have just maintained their lead, but it is exceptionally close as they come down the enclosures. You can always tell the margins are tight when the crowd responds to the race that's on the course, and this is what we love to see from the beautiful drone
Agecrott
footage.
just sneaked it up 1 pip. And now Grosvenor have responded. Well, what is there, a canvas between them as they come down, and we'll see them now. They've just gone past We're just at halfway.
It might not even be that. It really is neck and neck here.
And they're
in
both now rating at 34. Well, they're into the second half. 600 metres to go. On a normal course, they would say, okay, 1,500 metres, 500 to go. Tom, Agecrott or Grosvenor? Who's it going to be?
This is a tough one. I have to say, Agecrott have led the whole way, but Grosvenor have been knocking on the door repeatedly. It just depends whether they've got the strength to really push that door down now. They're going to have to mount a late charge, because I think Agecrott have responded, and I think it might be Agecrott, as is so often the case, have just sneaked the momentum back, and maybe they're just eking out a bit more of a lead. We'll have to see as they come down the course.
Agecrott at 35, Grosvenor's still at 34. Grosvenor's now just beginning to mount their final challenge. We've got enough left in the legs, enough left in the lungs.
Oh, it is exceptional.
Grosvenor now up to 36. Agecrott responding. Grosvenor got their noses in front, or is that parallax?
No, I think it's still Agecrott. It really is tough to call between the two crews as they head down into the final 300 metres, which is going to be one for the Finnish judges. I think their first real action of the day for those guys stationed down at Remenham. Oh, it is exceptionally tight.
Well, I was talking down at the judges' box yesterday, and they've got a new photo finish set up there. So, however tight it is, if there is a gap between them,